Andy, Tom makes an interesting point. They're very expensive cars, obviously. This kind of purchase is not to be taken lightly. How are the super high-end luxury sales going?
Well, very well, and as you can see, there's a lot of excitement around what we do. Just look at the traffic over the stand. For us, the luxury industry is very good. You saw last year we grew our revenue line by 25%. Our volumes were up by 26%. We saw good growth in China, up 31%. So generally speaking, from our underlying point of view, we're delivering on that equity story of long-term growth, and we're very happy with the way things are going.
Before I get back to the financials, and of course we focus on that here at Bloomberg, I got to ask about the competition. It's such a crowded space. Here in Geneva, we're seeing $1 million car after $2 million car. Of course, you're standing right in front of a couple of $1 million of vehicle right there. How do you differentiate yourself? What do you tell a customer that makes him or her want to buy an Aston Martin as opposed to a Ferrari or a Lamborghini?
Well, first of all, amongst that larger mass, of course, brand is very important, and that's why Ferrari and Lamborghini and Aston Martin sit in a different space. But you also have to play for your strengths within that space. And what does an Aston Martin? What does that evoke? What does that stand for? And very clearly, in our mind, it stands for beauty. What we do better than anybody else is beautiful, beautiful cars. That's where we try to take it to, whether it's an SUV, which is coming in our very near future, or it's a mid-engine sports car like the one that you see behind us. What we will always try to do is make it as elegant and beautiful as we can. And of course, it will always be made in the UK and made by hand.
We're trying to see the Valkyrie behind you. It's got so many people around it that it's difficult to see, but let me ask about that made in the UK as a brand for you. Does that continue after Brexit? Is that more difficult because of Brexit?
I think it is the brand. We're the British car company. We're the only British car company to be on the London Stock Exchange in 30 years. So our future is very much tied to the UK. We believe in the UK. We believe in the talents that exist here. We couldn't make an Aston Martin outside of the UK because those skills, they're here. So whatever the economy is doing, we have to lean with it.
When you're selling the cars, you have to also think about, you have another part of your job, and that's selling the stock. You had one of the biggest share sales in the UK last year, but it's been difficult since then. The share's down more than 40%. How do you convince an investor that she or he should buy Aston Martin shares right now?
Well, it's a growth story. And perhaps that's a difficult story for some to grasp. And if you know the car industry, it takes time to turn things around and make the growth. This growth is about 7 cars in 7 years, each car having a 7-year life, copy, repeat, copy, repeat, copy, repeat. We're 3 cars into the plan. This year, the SUV is coming. And basically, it will take time to build. And ultimately, though, the story is one of we're a luxury car company. Now, there's always going to be the bears. There's always going to be the guys that don't necessarily believe the story. But if we convince you of the story, and you can see the story very much behind you, it's very real. If you believe in the story and you're a little bit patient, then you should see that share growth.
There is, though, a lot of, look, you mentioned the bears. There's a lot of focus on the financial dynamics. Tesla has had many more issues than you have with bears, but also with supporters. How do you avoid that scrutiny, or how do you turn it to your advantage? Do you boost unit sales? Is it about more models?
No, I don't think it is. I mean, ultimately, we're a luxury company. Our ultimate volume ambition is only 14,000. I think the growth comes in the average selling price, the ASP, which comes through the delivery of the plan. The best retort that I have for the shorts is to deliver the plan. And today, behind me, you can see we're delivering on that plan.
I see it for sure with the Valkyrie. Over your other shoulder, I see the Lagonda. You're launching a whole new brand here.
Yes.
And it's a fully electric product. How much more expensive is that? How much more difficult is there to turn a profit?
Well, obviously, the industry will tell you that the technology of batteries is more expensive than the technology of gasoline engines. On the contrary, it's easier to engineer, so it's simpler. That's why you see new entrants into the market. The benefit of basically selling $300,000 cars is that you're more able to absorb the cost of those batteries. So that's why I think you see more success in the higher end, introducing electric cars in the higher end than you do necessarily at £35,000 or $35,000. Almost the same thing these days, isn't it? So I think it makes sense. By going fully electric with Lagonda, we obviously go against the duopoly of Rolls-Royce and Bentley, but we also create an alternative or something that sits on top of a Tesla. And it's a very clear message. Lagonda is battery electric vehicles. Never will have a gasoline engine included, and that way we can yield space and give it back to the customer.
What's the customer like for Lagonda? I mean, Aston Martin is clear. It's a luxury customer that wants speed. I'm looking at your Formula One entrant here. What's the Lagonda customer looking for?
Well, the Lagonda customer is a successful owner of a tech business living in Silicon Valley or in Beijing, and basically is concerned about the environment, doesn't want to be seen in a car that's got a gasoline engine in, but wants something more, wants a brand, wants beauty, wants all the things that the Aston brand would give you, that hand-built art that is Aston Martin Lagonda, but wants it in an EV package. And that's what Lagonda brings to the market.